Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Zach Lee, and like always, we got some stuff to talk about today, so let's just talk about it. But first, a quick word about this video sponsor, SeatGeek. Well, guess what? If you're a Blazers fan and you live in the Portland area and haven't given SeatGeek a try yet, you just missed your chance this season. And it's such a shame. Maybe if you were personally at game 4, the outcome would have been different. Maybe your aura, your energy, something would have given Portland or Damian Lillard the motivation he needed to go out there and get a win. So to the rest of you, I need y'all to look at Portland and their fans over there and decide if you want your favorite team to end up like them. If your favorite team's in the playoffs and you don't want your season to end like theirs, hop on SeatGeek and get some tickets before it's too late. Use the promo code SDC for $20 off your first order. I'll have links in the description box down below. All right, anyways, we have a couple of main things to talk about today, and I'm not quite sure which one we should talk about first. Well, I guess I did allude to it in the SeatGeek thing, so I will talk about the Portland Trail Blazers first. The Blazers just got swept in the playoffs, yo. And to show you guys exactly how bad of a look this is for Portland, I'm going to show you something that the New Orleans Pelicans reminded us of during the game yesterday, when they released a tweet in which it showed who was supposed to be the favorite to win this series, where all 22 major journalists who were polled before the series started all picked the Blazers to win this series. Every last single one of them. And a lot of us fans even had the Portland Trail Blazers to win this series. It was going to be a close series, but we thought the Portland Trail Blazers would be able to get it done. So for them to go out there and get swept, to get bodied by Jrue Holiday for 4 straight games, I mean, it doesn't get any worse than that. Yesterday, Jrue Holiday with 41 points and 8 assists. AD did drop 47 too, but that's AD right there. If he wants to, if he feels like he needs to score at least 40 in a game to get the job done, well, he's just gonna drop 40 in a game then. There isn't a person alive that can do anything to stop that. Holiday, though, was just cooking the Blazers defense, and so was Rondo, but you know, in another way. Man had 16 or 17 assists last night, and some of the passes that he dished out faked me out. I was sitting in front of the computer wondering where the ball went or how did he end up with the ball when Rondo just had it. There was that one play where he rolled under the basket, drew the attention of 3 Portland defenders, and then just bounced it behind his back to AD for the easy bucket. When he did that, the ref should have just called the series. There was no point in playing it out anymore. They were just letting the Pelicans earn style points after that. So the Pelicans will officially advance to play Golden State Warriors in the second round. That is what the future holds for them. While for the Blazers, on the other hand, no one is exactly sure what the future holds for them. After being swept again, Damian Lillard says that he believes the team is still capable of doing something in the playoffs. What that something is, I don't know, maybe he just means win a game, but he said the reason they lost is because they weren't playing good basketball and the Pelicans were.
Dame, I know that in addition to the regular season, especially during that 13-game win streak, kind of seemed like the sky was the limit for this team. What do you think it's going to take for the postseason to match that regular season success that you guys continue to get?
I think this team, I think we're still capable. I just think, like you said, that 13-game winning streak, we were playing our best basketball, and then we ran into some injuries. You know, things happened, and we kind of ran into a little bit of a bump. You know, we weren't the flow just wasn't the same, you know, and that was our stretch at the end of the season. We lost 4 games out of, I think, 5 on the road trip, or all 4 on the road trip, and then finished at home with a win. But we just weren't playing our best basketball like we had been during that stretch of 13 games. And then we come in here against a team that played their best stretch of basketball probably down the stretch when they had to, against other teams competing for spots. And they continued that into the postseason. So I think the team is capable. I just think going into the postseason, we weren't playing great. And they came in playing great, and it showed.
I mean, come on, Dame. That's kind of obvious. The question now is, why couldn't you play good basketball? Why did you go out there and look the way that you did for all 4 games? Yes, the Pelicans will pick up on Dame 30 to 35 feet away from the basket, forcing the ball out of his hands. But this isn't a new tactic. We have seen this used against other players, and most of those other players, most of the other great players, have found ways to get around it. Have found ways to still get it done and get their team a win. And the bottom line is, despite how much you guys know I like Dame as a player, he didn't do that in this series. When they're coming to pick you up, maybe sending 2 guys out on you as soon as you dribble past half court, if you start punishing them by making the pass pass that leads to an easy bucket, the Pelicans are going to have to switch up their defensive scheme, meaning that Lillard would then be able to go up there and play his game. And yesterday, he did get out the ball to CJ, and CJ was playing great. He was trying his best to avoid a sweep as he scored 38 points. And same to Al-Farouq Aminu, he was out there trying too. But Dame was just never able to figure out a way to get it done against the Pelicans, and Aminu and McCollum aren't going to be able to get it done by themselves in the playoffs. So now for this Blazers future that I was trying to get at. This has to be the summer that something big changes for the Portland Trail Blazers. They just got swept for the second year in a row. There is no way that they can come back next year with the exact same roster that they had this season. If they do that, then I don't care if they shock the world and win 70 games next year. Once the playoffs start, that's tough. This is a team that's not built to win in the playoffs, and something has to change. But the thing is, kind of like most teams in their situation, making a change for them is going to be a lot easier said than done. The Blazers don't have any money where they can go out and sign a free agent to get better. It's not as easy as that. Of course, they're not going to get a top pick in the draft this year to go draft some top talent to help them get better. They don't have many trade assets at all outside of Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum to get better. No one wants to trade for Evan Turner and his terrible contract. No one wants to trade for Myers Leonard, period, despite the fact that he has a terrible contract as well. I'm sure they could find someone to trade for Al-Farouq Aminu, but it's not worth it to trade Al-Farouq Aminu. He's on such a cheap contract. They should look to keep Al-Farouq Aminu because he's one of the players that actually plays well. You're not going to get a lot of trade value for him, and once again, he's on such a cheap contract that it makes more sense to keep him than to trade him. Jusuf Nurkic is about to be a restricted free agent. He doesn't have much trade value either. And by the way, Portland, you have better not go out there and offer this guy anything close to a max contract. I think more than 10 to 12 million per season for Jusuf Nurkic would be a bad contract. So really, if the Blazers want to shake things up, they only have two options: trade Damian Lillard or trade CJ McCollum, which is where it gets complicated because let's be real here. The skill gap between Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum isn't that big. However, Damian Lillard has a lot more trade value than CJ McCollum. They could trade Damian Lillard and get a lot more in exchange for him than they would get for CJ McCollum. But then again, it's Damian Lillard. He is the heart and soul of the Portland Trail Blazers. Portland fans love him so much that if the Blazers were to trade him, I think there would be riots and a lot of the fans would lose trust in the team. He is the face of the franchise, so they might have to opt for trading CJ McCollum, even though the skill gap isn't that great and they could get a lot more for Dame and less for McCollum. But because of what Damian Lillard means to the city, it'll probably be McCollum that gets put up on the trade block. So I really think the Blazers will be leaning more towards that direction than anything. All I know though is something has to happen. If they seriously want to try and get better, they have to make some moves. Bottom line is this team isn't a championship contender already. This team was never going to make it very far in the playoffs. Second round appearance at most. If they want to get over that hump and try and get better, they're going to have to make some hard decisions, and that's just the bottom line. Yo, Russell Westbrook has to be the most frustrating player to watch in NBA history. Like, I swear, there has never been a player with as much talent, who is as much of a freak of nature athlete as Russell Westbrook, to be as gifted as Russell Westbrook, yet be so frustrating to watch. He got outplayed by Ricky Rubio yesterday. Big time. Westbrook, 5 of 17 from the field, 14 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, and 8 turnovers. Rubio, on the other hand, 9 of 18 from the field, 26 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists, and only 4 turnovers. That was one of the deciding factors of this game, the point guard play. And Westbrook, after the game, vowed that he was going to shut Rubio down in the next game.
Russell, Rubio got hot, especially I think from mid-range. I think he started 5 for 5. Just what allowed him to get so hot there?
He made some shots, too comfortable, but I'm going to shut that off next game, though. Guarantee that.
Hey man, as a Thunder fan, that is exactly what you would want to hear. Then again, you would hope that Westbrook would be trying to do that all series long, and he would never let Rubio go off like this, but it is what it is. Hopefully he learned his lesson, and maybe he's going to be playing the same defense on Rubio that he played on Harden the last time OKC played Houston in the regular season. But bottom line here is, Russell Westbrook needs to step it up. In the Thunder's last 2 games, he didn't play well at all, and both those games resulted in losses. But I'm not going to put all the blame here on Russell Westbrook. He isn't the only reason the Jazz are winning, though. Utah Jazz are still in attack mode, and they have seemingly found the biggest weakness of OKC. Attack Steven Adams, get him out of the game, and they are vulnerable. In the past 2 games, with both Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and actually just the entire team for the Jazz looking to be more aggressive attacking Adams, it has pretty much turned Adams into a non-factor in the series due to foul trouble. And without him in the game, OKC has no rim protection. Utah's not falling victim to the Westbrook-Adams pick and roll, and Adams isn't hurting them on the offensive board since he's one of the best offensive rebounders in the NBA. So that's one thing, but another part of the blame has to be on the perimeter guys of OKC. They have to do a better job of protecting Steven Adams. They had to stop letting the guy get past them and get to the rim where Adams is in danger of picking up a foul. And a lot of what all of this comes down to is just the Jazz playing better team basketball. It's kind of similar to what I was talking about with the Cavs yesterday, how the Thunder might have the best player in the series in Russell Westbrook and overall have more talent than the Utah Jazz, but the Jazz play more as a team. They're better coached. They have more chemistry. Most of the time, that's going to give you the edge on the team that has more talent but doesn't play together as well. And that is unless something happens in a game like Game 1 where we have Paul George playing outside of his mind. That is when talent can just overwhelm you and win the game by itself. But more often than not, that's not going to be the case. You can't just rely on guys getting hot and carrying the team. And the Thunder do that way too often, whether it be relying on Westbrook to carry or hoping that Paul George has one of those nights where he just can't miss. That's not going to result in a very consistent team. Most of the games are going to end up like last night, where in the playoffs, they just get outplayed. I wish you guys could have seen me yesterday watching this game. Like, I really wish you could have seen the expressions on my face. I was grinning from ear to ear. I was laughing. I couldn't help myself but to be happy for this Minnesota Timberwolves team. Look, I know you guys think I'm a Wolves hater. More specifically, I'm an Andrew Wiggins hater. But if you guys remember, back at the beginning of the season, I was extremely hyped about this Minnesota Timberwolves team. I was extremely hyped about Andrew Wiggins, Jimmy Butler, and Karl Anthony Towns. I said that not this year, but next year would be the year that this team would be able to make the leap and become championship contenders. I truly thought that. But once Jimmy Butler went down and I saw their true colors, of course I was extremely disappointed, and that's where my criticism stemmed from. Disappointment from my expectations of them being better than what they were displaying. But yesterday, when I was watching this game, I couldn't help but to be happy and remember why I was saying next year could be the year for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, they're still going to have to make some serious changes. I was still questioning whether or not Andrew Wiggins can be the third option, but they showed me something yesterday. They showed me some heart. They finally played with some freaking heart out there on the court. After the first 2 games, no one was expecting the Wolves to win a single game this series. We thought it was all going to be a sweep for the Rockets, and at tip-off, I thought Towns was going to disappear again. Same for Butler. And Wiggins, yeah, he would be the best player out of the 3, even though it's not like he was playing great in the first 2 games either. And if that happened again, I was going to have to roast Minnesota. I really was. I was prepared to take notes on the game and just go in on them in this very video. But man, I was so happy when the game started. Yo, shout out to all the guys on the Minnesota Timberwolves. That is the heart and attitude that y'all need to be playing with all season long. It took being on the verge of going down 0-3 in the playoffs to bring it out of you, but it happened. Wiggins was freaking phenomenal. I'd argue that this was the best game that he has played all season long, even though he only scored 20 points. He was extremely efficient, 7-11 from the field. Or like I said, those 20 points. He rebounded and he passed the ball. He gave effort on the defensive end. I mean, I've been waiting to see that from him all season long. So you have no idea how happy I was to finally see it. Karl Anthony Towns, I will say that I was a bit worried about you in the first half after you were scoreless and only took 2 shots. But in the second half, you flipped the switch and you went freaking beast mode, absolute beast mode. That was amazing to see. And Butler and Teague, you know, those guys led the way with their playoff experience. Teague with 23 points and 8 assists, and Butler with 28 points, playing a nice all-around game. And look, you can't forget about Derrick Rose. He had a, pretty solid couple of games to start the series. Game 1 he played really well, but no one else on the Wolves did. And Game 2, well, the Wolves got blown out, so it didn't really matter much. But yesterday, the man just showed you that he can still go out there and be productive. People, 17 points coming off the bench. I don't think he should be a starter in the NBA anymore, but I think that if he still wants to play after this year and is willing to, he could be a very valuable piece coming off someone's bench. And as for this Wolves as a whole, I still don't think anyone expects or should expect them to win this series, but as long as they keep fighting like they did yesterday, I do not care if they win or not. Just keep fighting, keep being aggressive. That's all anyone can ask for. I don't think the Philadelphia 76ers could have possibly asked for a better first round opponent than the Miami Heat. There aren't as many teams in the NBA who will play Philly as aggressively and challenge them mentally as much as the Miami Heat have done so far. Because none of the 3 wins that the Sixers were able to get have necessarily been easy. They were able to pull away late in a couple of them, but for the most part, they were all extremely hard-earned wins. That being said, Benjamin Button Simmons, he was playing so terribly in the first half yesterday. I mean, he was turning the ball over a lot. I believe he had 7 turnovers and all of them came in the first half. But once that second half started, he really looked to take control of the game and get Philly back into the game as well. I mean, that's not something you see from a guy who's only playing in his 4th NBA playoff game. They don't just normally take over games like Ben Simmons was able to do, settle down his team and be like, you know what, we are winning this game. I don't care what any of y'all think. Look, we turned the ball over way too much in the first half, but that stops right now. We are getting back into this game because I am freaking Ben Simmons. That is exactly what Ben Simmons did in the second half yesterday. And like I said, to see a guy who's only playing in his 4th ever NBA playoff game do that, you almost never see that type of composure. I mean, the guy, we say he's not a rookie because he doesn't play like a freaking rookie, but the guy seems like he's been playing in the NBA for 10 plus seasons sometimes. It's not normal to be as good as he is already. He had his first playoff triple-double with 17 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists. And Embiid, this guy was struggling with his shot yesterday. Let's just put it like that. Still could have had something to do with the mask affecting his vision. I believe it was. That's why he takes it off to shoot his free throws. And, you know, accidentally, quote, quote, cough, cough, hint, hint, forgot it on purpose in the 4th quarter too. But even though he couldn't hit a shot, he was still putting pressure on the Miami Heat defense and forcing them to foul him, you know, getting their guys in foul trouble. Man is a center version of James Harden. But speaking of centers, it seems like the Heat finally found their center. They finally found Hassan Whiteside, as he showed up a little yesterday. I wouldn't say that he played his best or was great or anything like that, but, you know, he showed up at least. That being said, the Sixers still have a stranglehold 3-1 lead on the series now over Miami, and I'd be surprised if they don't finish it off in Philly in Game 5. That does it for this video though. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to smack that like button. Let's aim for another 3,000 likes on this video, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more daily NBA videos. Thank you once again for watching. I'll see all of you right back here tomorrow, but until then, keep getting the buckets, Team SEC, and I'm out of here. Peace.